All right. Welcome back to the Forest Brothers podcast. It is your boy Musa Kristan back in the cut, joined by my two brothers Samson and Kosi. What's goody, brothers? What's goody? All right. So, listener, today the episode is about Manchester United, Amorim, Onana, all things United today. Given the fact that they played Newcastle a couple of days ago, they played Newcastle on Sunday, and they lost 4-1. Bashing of a game. Good, very good game. Very, very good game. I don't know how many United fans thought that they would go there to Newcastle and win the game, but they were very, very disappointed if they thought that. Anyway, Mr. Amorim, for me, I knew that Newcastle killed these guys, and it's just a question of by how many. I was a little disappointed though that Isak didn't score. He did have a very, very powerful assist though. I really liked his assist for Tonali. That man moves so silky, man. I love Isak. I love how he plays. He makes things look so simple, so easy. But yeah, those are my first impressions of the game. Good, Harvey Barnes, 2 goals. Good for him. I think he did really well for that game. Um, but yeah, United, hey, so let's get started here, gents, with United. I'm trying to even think where to start, but let's even start with comments about let's even start with Onana situation before we get into Newcastle, because it's the fact that Bayender was playing in replacement of Onana due to what Onana said about Lyon in the Europa League. So, and then what happened with that. So, kind of let's talk more a little bit about that. So, Samson, um, Onana and Bayindra and like that whole situation. What were your thoughts about that? And was it the right choice to bench Onana for that game for the Newcastle game, or was that a grave mistake by Mr. Amorim?
Um, Sometimes coaches do this sort of thing where, you have to take a player out of the line of fire and like just save them from themselves almost, because it's like it seems like every mistake is theirs. The team isn't playing well, and Onana's almost like a distraction at this point. It's not even about United, because I think against Lyon they scored 2 goals, right? They put in an okay performance attacking wise because they don't score a lot of goals, but the story became Onana. So it's like, you know, as much as not everything is his fault, I don't think that would be fair because I think United have bigger problems than just Onana. Um, him speaking up and getting into this um Instagram war with Nemanja Matic, I mean, come on, bro. Like, this is not the club, this is not the time to do these things. You're in 14th, you're struggling, everyone's on edge. The fans have had enough. People are losing jobs because, Sir Jim is cutting people's jobs. Like, come on, bro. Like, you cannot be doing this. So I think it just goes against Amorim's whole idea of professionalism and being for the team and all that sort of thing. Because I felt like that's where Amorim was coming from. Like, you are being unprofessional right now. You are putting yourself before the team. You are making yourself a distraction instead of focusing on the team. So I can't have you around the team, even though it might hurt us. This is my rule. This is the example I've set with Garnacho, with Rashford. I can't just give you a pass, especially when you do something like this and it works against us. So I think that's where Amorim was coming from. It backfired, yes. But to be fair, I mean, I'd argue those 4 goals Onana could have conceded them as well. Like that's like very easily he could have conceded them as well. He could have even contributed to one of them. That's just where his game is at right now. Because I mean, against Lyon, he did concede from a free kick, right? It was like a cross, and he just let it go in. So yeah, I think it was the right decision. It just didn't work out. And that happens sometimes. So I can't really blame him for it. What are your thoughts, Mungor?
As a former member of the Goalkeepers Union, It's a calamity there at Old Trafford, when it comes to the goalkeepers. You remove one because of what he said in the media. We've mentioned this previously on this podcast about players and statements. And Brother Onana, he did exactly what was not supposed to be done, and he landed himself in hot water. So I think it's a very interesting situation in that you ask yourself, where do United go from here? You pull out the one who's making the mistakes, you bring in another one who's also making mistakes. So, like, what happens next? I heard some people talk about Tom Heaton. Give him a run at this point because you have nothing to lose. Like, apart from the Europa League, they're what, 15, 14, 15 in the league? There's nothing to save at this point. So, might as well put Tom Heaton in the league because these other two have shown you. Because now, what you've done with this goalkeeping situation is as much as Onana was not supposed to say anything, like fine, he said something. We can't take that away.
What did
But
he say again? Just for people who are wondering, what exactly happened? What do you guys remember the
so
comments that Onana made?
so it started off, I think, from what I understand, he said oh, Onana said, I think it was asked pre-match before the first day against Lyon, what are your thoughts going to this Lyon game? And he said, we are better than this Lyon team, and I think we should get past them easily. And then Nemanja Matic came out and said he is the worst, statistically speaking, and I quote, the worst United goalkeeper in Manchester United's history. And then Onana came back and said and posted an Instagram picture and he spoke about how he's won stuff at Old Trafford where some others can't say that while he was kissing the FA Cup trophy. So that's the context of like what exactly has happened here and where it's gone. And interestingly enough, while I was watching the game, the camera was panning to Matic as Mr. Onana was making these mistakes. So the free kick in itself. So like he won the battle without even having to play against Onana that day, because now he has destroyed Onana in the sense that he doesn't even have to play and he lives rent free in Onana's head. Because that first free kick, like that guy was not crossing. I mean, that guy was not shooting. He was crossing and he parried it. And then the second one as well. It was hit. I understand it's the 90th. Okay, no, there I don't understand anything there. There it's truly not okay. The ball is hit straight at him. The Leon striker or Leon attacker, it's not even hitting to the corner of him. He has to make a save. And he parries it right in front of the goal there, and they equalize. So him being dropped, he deserves it, without a shadow of a doubt, because that was not good enough. And now, like, I don't think we should see him this season again. Like it should be done for him. That's just my take. This one another situation. Like this is the only way Amarim can save his skin from this. Because if he brings him back next game, they'll be alright.
I was gonna say added context to that. I'm reading here that since the start of last season, Onana has made 8 errors, leading to goals in all competitions, which is the most of any keeper playing for a Premier League club. So 8 errors to 8 goals is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. I really don't understand him. Like Onana is one of those. And by the way, that comment, he really is what's Van what's the former coach's name again? I even forgot his name already.
Van
Dutch
Nistelrooy?
coach. No, the Dutch the Baldy. What's his name?
Ten Hag?
Ten
Old Hag.
Hag. Yes, he really is Ten Hag's son because that response, some people have won trophies for United. That is something Ten Hag would say. That is exactly what Ten Hag would say. And I think that is such a horrible, horrible way to respond here. It's such a, in fact, to even get into this war, it's like, it's so tone deaf, man. So tone deaf. And it's like, obviously, this guy is not really thinking about what the team is at right now. Because seriously, like 14th, Manchester United at 14th, and you're on social media tweeting at people like I won more trophies than you. Like that is insane on its own. Like by itself, that is worth being benched, being suspended. like by itself, just like the unprofessionalism of it all, given the context, is horrible. Now to follow it up with mistakes and like you said, eight errors, 8 goals. I mean, damn, I don't know, man. I don't even know how you because they don't even have the money to replace him. Like, because this week I saw them get linked to Ramsdale. Like, I mean, that's not much
Ramsdale,
better.
Ramsdale at United would be crazy. But I was laughing at
Uh,
United because it was so, they did David De Gea so dirty, in my opinion. Like, what they did to De Gea was so unfair. And I feel like they're now ripping the seeds of what they sowed. They're now laying in the bed. Because are you really telling me that Onana has been that much better than David De Gea? You know, I also wonder where he is. Maybe Mangori can let me know. Where's De Gea these days? Is he still not playing for any club?
He is at Fiorentina. He recently got, I think, a Player of the Month. And I think they're going to renew his contract. So he's performing well for Fiorentina. They're in the quarterfinals of the Conference League. So all in all, I think he's doing very well for himself.
I love it. I love it. And and it's very unfortunate as well about the timing of Onana's comments because again, Manchester United are playing the best attacking team currently in the Premier League at home. And now you're putting in Bayindir, who hasn't played a Premier League. I think that was his debut Premier League game, if I'm not mistaken. So that's just the timing. Like, we can't even blame Bayindir for that performance because at the end of the day, also, if we even look at that back line, it was Lindelof, it was Euro, and it was it Mazraoui? What was
Yes,
yeah,
Mazraoui
Lucas
was
Mascherano.
there.
so, and then we also, what was happening with Mazraoui, and who was he getting? He was getting cooked by Barnes, wasn't he? So, even the timing of it was. So I don't know. Like United is it's just a gift that keeps on giving because they just can't seem to have a nice chill week. You just there's always something. Like if Onana didn't make those comments and they drew 2-2 to Leon, people would be like, okay, you guys didn't lose. Second leg, something else. We hope for the best. But now this whole story is like, yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting. But anyway, I think maybe we should now move on to the actual game between Newcastle and Man United. What were you guys' impressions and thoughts? Maybe I can ask you first, Mangoro. Like what you saw in that game, and if you think that Amarim came in with the right game plan, or if it was because even and also have to mention Eddie Howe was not even present. Eddie Howe has been sick, I heard. So we hope that he can make a full recovery soon. I think he was in hospital. From what I heard, he had pneumonia or something. I was recovering from pneumonia, something like that. I'm not too sure of the specifics, but anyway, full recovery. We hope for a full recovery for the man Eddie Howe. He's been excellent this season as Newcastle's coach. But again, it was Tyndall on the touchline, coaching the team, and hey, he pulled a 4-1 against United. I think that should also be that has not been talked about enough.
So when we go to the game, shout out to Jason Tyndall, who last minute had to take the game. In the absence of Eddie Howe, as Musa mentioned, yeah, we do hope for, as the Forest Brothers podcast, we do hope for a speedy recovery to Mr. Eddie Howe. Great coach. Got his tactics right now at Newcastle. When I look at the game in itself, I look at particularly the first half. Mainly the biggest thing was United were going for the press, but they were going for the press in stages. And when Newcastle would play through the press, it was curtains. Like we saw like the gaps that were opening up. It's just that there were certain aspects where Newcastle wasteful, but also like the United last ditch defending also did help them at some point. So when I look at the game in itself, like the goal that Sandro Tonali scored, like it's picture perfect incision play between the attack and the midfield, and to hit that first time, truly, truly, truly marvelous by the boy Sandro Tonali. And then, interestingly enough, United equalized. I think it was a lapse of concentration from the Newcastle defensive side where they let in Bruno and then he played it to Garnacho, who toe poked it into the net. And interesting enough, when I was watching highlights, like after I think like 2 days later, watching all the Premier League highlights, for some odd reason, I don't know, maybe it was just my broadcast, they didn't show the United goal. I found that to be interesting. Maybe they didn't count it. So, but then when you get to the second half, that's where United, because United were in a good level playing field at that point. They got to halftime at what was what 1-1, and then I honestly I do not know what is being said at halftime or what is happening at that point. In all honesty, I just don't understand United. You are 1-1. Protect what you have. You gotta smash and grab. And then second half, I don't know what they start doing. First, Mazraoui falls over. I'm like, okay, Mazraoui, which one is this one now? He's there falling over. The defense just opens up like the Red Sea. Harvey Barnes puts it top corner. Bandier has no chance. The other one, Bandier, like I don't know why all of a sudden you are not a ball playing keeper. Why must you try what you tried there at that point? Like to me, like that was just ridiculous that he actually did that. And then they score that goal. That I believe that was the fourth goal. And then even the other one, Dallo, my God. Dallo has been being low key cooked this season. Because I remember against City, Jeremy Doku had a field day. And at that point, Tino Livramento is the right back. He's cooking you, and then he plays it across. Like, when that ball comes across into the 6-yard box, and then Murphy plays it back to Bonds. I ask myself, where is the United midfield? Where is the defense that's tracking all these runners? Because people were on their knees. Lindelof was on their knees, was on his knees there in the box. And I ask myself, I understand capitulating, but there's a way to do it. Like United, like after they conceded the second one, they just fell apart. And for me, like that was like not acceptable. I know Newcastle's a good team, and credit to them, credit to Newcastle. They showed up. They beat a team that was nowhere to be found. But in all honesty, like United do need to look at themselves in the mirror. And what irks me the most about just United as a whole is not so long ago, and I'll mention it again, not so long ago, they were very upset with Joshua Zirkzee, and they were booing him, and he was running down the tunnel, and things were happening there. And then when he goes down injured this game, it's like they've lost their CR7. Like, if you heard the commentary from like United fans on social media post game, they were devastated that they lost Joshua Zirkzee. I don't know if it's the fact that they lost Joshua Zirkzee or the other brother they have is just so bad that they just have no faith in him. Because he came on in the game and he was there heading balls, attacking the ball boys outside. His headers were going there rather than to the goal. Like he was more dangerous to the ball boys rather than Nick Pope's goal. Mr. Rasmus Højlund. So it was very interesting to see, like, honestly, like, United fans should tell me, like, there's even talk, some fans are saying maybe we throw in a center back up there this week against Lyon because they don't trust Rasmus. Some are even saying play Bruno false nine. So it's just very interesting to see how like United go forward for this. But as I think people have now realized, uh, what Ralph Rangnick said a few years ago has stood the test of time. He said this team needs open heart surgery, and people came for him. And now look at the team as it stands. What he said at that time is now ringing true now when we look at United. Because he did say everyone here is just garbage and we need to start afresh. And they had him for that and they fired him. So now now it's all coming to fruition, and these are the results. As Muta mentioned, you reap what you sow, and United is sowing what they've planted. And shout out to them. Us were happy. Us we will not complain. We will continue to criticize and point out the wrong things they're doing, but also if they do something right, they will also mention that. But I can safely say this past weekend, Manchester United against Newcastle did not do anything correctly, and it is what it is. That's just the truth. If they don't want to hear that, that's on them. They just want to give themselves chest pains. That's just the truth, honestly. That's just my take. I don't know how you feel about the game, Samson.
I also want to say, Samson, I just want to add more context as well about that game in terms of statistics. Newcastle had 13 shots, United had 9. On target, Newcastle had 6. Out of those 6 shots on target, they scored 4 of them. United had 5 shots on target, and they scored 1 of them. So, and then even possession-wise, Man United had 52%, Newcastle had 48%. So, you can even pass accuracy, both at 80%. So in terms of the statistics, United actually I wouldn't say they had a bad game, but it just seems that, when Newcastle was attacking them, they're just so much more clinical. So yeah, those counters were crazy. But anyway, yeah, over to you, Samson.
Yeah, everything Mongoro was saying, yeah, it's just these guys are horrible, man. These guys suck. And that is the that's the only thing you can say about this United team because even if you go back and look at the goals, um, all 4 goals, when you're playing a back three, usually, you have that security in numbers. Like you're tough to break down, you're tough to create chances against. But these guys are just number one, they lack the quality, just like seriously, go watch that first goal. Go look at what Lindelof is doing. Because he's the one who's supposed to be shadowing Isaac. He doesn't know where Isaac is. Um, they lack the quality, they lack the cohesion, so they're not covering for each other. And once one guy is beaten, like Mongoro said, it's the Red Sea over there. It's just like center backs are ending up as right backs, and it's like, bro, like what are we doing here? What are you guys working on? And at some point you're not even sure whether it's like, is it that the guys are not understanding what Amorim is saying on the training pitch? Because there are those, I'm not sure if the United fans have seen, but there are those images from the training ground where Amorim is standing behind the fence, watching them from like 100 meters away. So you have to ask you, like, what is going on training? Like, are they actually getting what he's talking about? Are they putting his plans into action? Or are they just folding once they step on the pitch? Because these are such preventable goals. And I think it's so discouraging from a United fan perspective because you can't even praise the attack. You can't even praise the little positive things they're doing because it's not that, I know they had like what? You said 9 shots, 5 on target?
Yeah.
Well, those are decent numbers. I get it. But most of the time, you had those numbers because they did not respect you. They thought they could defend your 4 attackers with 3 guys, and people were not running back. And people just didn't care when Garnacho had the ball. Like, that's why he scored, if we're being honest. Go see how Newcastle defends like 15 other teams in the league. Guys are throwing themselves in front of the ball to save like any shot. They don't care about you. Like, that's what's happening here. And it's just so disappointing. Like, these guys have no threat and they're disorganized all the time at the back. Like, what is there to look forward to when you watch a United game? Just chaos. It's for the neutrals at this point. Cause damn, it's just ass whooping after ass whooping with these guys. Goodness me, man.
Could I just quickly add? There's an incident that I think United fans will remember it. Luke Shaw has been he's on the field. Shout out to him for returning at this point. We even forgot he exists. There's an incident where Luke Shaw plays a 1-2 with someone in the midfield. I think they're already losing at that point. And he makes a sprint forward. We know his body is also just very fragile. He makes a sprint forward, and Rasmus has the ball. And Rasmus, I kid you not, Rasmus, instead of playing the pass to Shaw, who's made the run, and then run in the box and look for the finish, he decides to take it on, and Shaw's just standing there, and he's like, "Bro, I just made this lung busting 70-yard run. Now I'm tired, and you're doing this nonsense." And he hits the ball against someone's leg, doesn't even attack the goal, and it goes wide. And you're just like, this guy, I think, not that I think, I know someone at United is looking at the situation regarding Rasmus because it's not going to get better. It is not going to get better. There was a stat that came out that he's currently, of the current generation of players at United, seventh most expensive player that they've spent money on.
Wow.
Jadon Sancho sits in the top five. So there's a and Anthony as well. We won't forget him. He's also there. There's a lot of like culling that has to happen at United, and a lot of losses that they have to take because these players are just not going to get better at all. Like Anthony, as we saw him, he's not going to fit at United. Rasmus as well. I mention it every week. He's still going to be a centre back. He is still the centre back for me because honestly, like that performance. United fans, they know, they've seen him, which begs the question now, with something that Gary Neville mentioned, which I don't really agree with what Gary Neville said, but talking about for United to get back to winning ways, they'll need a decade, and they'll need to get rid of everyone. And fair enough, I do agree with them there, but what sellable assets do you have? Do you see any, Mr. Mutsa?
Not sellable assets. I mean, the sellable assets potentially, like, I guess Garnacho. People, I feel like there are teams out there that'll buy Garnacho. Like, you put a Garnacho at, even if Garnacho went to Newcastle, for example, or Garnacho went to like a Crystal Palace or whatever, he'd be a valuable asset there in those teams. That they have, it's really not that many. It's really not that many. Lenny Euro, I guess, but again, with United, Xerxes is their best player, one of their best. Like right next to Bruno is Xerxes. I think Xerxes is actually, yeah, I know he's built like a fridge, but at the same time, as a technical player, his technicality as a player is actually really good. Like I'm usually impressed by the fact that such a big guy like he is can move the ball like he does. The only thing that he lacks is power in his shots. I don't know what he has such a big body, but there's no power behind those shots, which is very, very confusing for me. Like, my guy, the one thing you should have is power. Like, yeah, you move like a fridge, but at least use that momentum, my guy. Like, when you swing that ball, it must be hit with so much force that, yeah, maybe you miss a few times, but at least we know that if it's on target, saving that item is going to be tough. But usually his shots are very, very soft. So that's the other thing that I'm usually confused by. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, you know? Garnacho's shot power is even stronger than Xerxes, and Garnacho's like half the guy's size. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I don't know if it's like a Dutch thing to have. I don't know. But anyway, the what I also wanted to bring out is Amorim, just briefly, because I'm now wondering about man management about Amorim, because yes, I know Onana's statements for sure, and I actually think that Bayendra is a much better goalkeeper than Onana. I think he was just like, just a tough game. Number one, number two, he hasn't played that often, because I think he was playing FA Cup games before they got knocked out, or they knocked out yet? I
Yeah,
think
they're
they are
out.
knocked out.
They're
Yeah,
out.
but it was him playing those games, and he did decent. He did decent. But if we're talking about Amorim, because I know United fans think that he's the future. Since he got into the Premier League, he's played 21 games. He's won 6 of them. He's drawn 5 of them, and he's lost 10 of them. That's a crazy, crazy stat. He's actually worse off. He's actually worse than what Ten Hag did. Like, if we compare the two coaches, Ten Hag actually did better than Amorim. So if it wasn't for Ten Hag, they'd actually be in relegation zone right now, because losing 10 out of 21. I mean, as a Spurs fan, I can't talk too much about this because, again, I think we've lost 13. So it's been bad on both fronts. But if we look at the total games, including Europa, FA Cup, and League Cup, total losses is 11. They've drawn 9. They've won 12 out of 32 games. So played 32, win 12. That's less than half of the games, you know? That's like almost a quarter, just a quarter of wins. To me, that's just not really good enough. And if we look at the squad is coming back because I know before they're talking about injuries, right? Now, you know, Mount is back, Shaw is back, Mainu was on the bench, he's back, he played. I don't know why Mainu didn't start. If Mainu's fit enough, start him. Or at least take off Ugarte at halftime. I don't know, like use the kid if you need the legs. Why is Ericsson playing the whole game? That's not that doesn't make any sense to me. So I always wonder, like, okay, let's say by the end of the season, cuts are made, he buys all the guys he wants. What are we gonna see for Man United? Because one of the commentators, funny enough, was talking about how Sir Alex had a terrible first season as coach, but then after that he became what he became, and they're saying that Amorim might follow the same journey. You know, starts off bad, but give him enough time and he's gonna cook. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I don't think Amorim is near the levels of Sir Alex.
They said the same thing about Ten Hag, because Ten Hag started his career with I think it was a loss to Brentford. Was it 3-1 to Brentford? So they said the same thing about him, and that did not get much better. Yeah, with Amorim, again, some of the issues he's having right now, the club and him himself they've put themselves there. You know, you're talking about being short on players. Um, some of your highest paid players are playing for other clubs right now, and some of them are doing very well. I think Aston Villa played PSG today. Rashford was probably the best player on the pitch for Aston Villa. He was phenomenal. He was everything United, you know, everything he's showcased himself to be at United. And he's doing it for Aston Villa. He could have been doing it for you if you didn't lose your cool, you know, if you didn't just talk to him nicely, you know, like this is on you. Anthony has been banging goals in Spain. Again, that's on you. Amorim.
Sancho cooked for Chelsea this past weekend too. Sancho saved Chelsea, I heard. So
Yeah.
does
So I
that.
mean, I know the Chelsea fans have mixed emotions about Sancho, but yeah, the guy's had some excellent performances at times this year. That's on you as Manchester United for letting him go. Like you have a lot of self-inflicted wounds here, and now you're having an injury crisis, and you have to play Thursday and Sunday every week until you're out of the Europa League. Self-inflicted wounds, okay? But even before we address all that, the bottom five teams in the league are some of the worst teams we've ever seen, period. Like the bottom three are probably the worst. You know, I'm sure there's like probably one or two more out there that have had worse seasons, but these three, as a set of three that have been promoted, the worst, just horrible. My guy, you gotta look competent against them. United do not look competent against anyone, no matter who's playing. And that's the problem here. Like, you can't even look watchable with the players you have now. Who, you know, these guys aren't like title winning players, but they don't suck either. Like, Ugarte is, yes, I get it. He was kicked out of PSG. They didn't want him, but he's not horrible. Okay? Casemiro, yes, for most people, horrific. But for United, for finishing 10th, he's more than good enough for that. Like the way you have these guys playing, you would think they're part timers. So even if Amorim gets all the money in the world and all the players in the world, the question is, can you produce something watchable? Can you give us anything that resembles a decent team? Because I think that should be the target for United. Sell Bruno, sell all these high wage earners, and just produce a team that can get 10th. Like, if you can do that, I promise you, within 5, 6 years, the way this league is, because this league is very, like, open within that 10 to 6th position. It's wide open. Within the next 5 years, you could do something special, but it starts with the bare bones. It's just like, because these guys, man, they're just so horrible, man. So horrible.
I would say, just to add on to that, may seem like a wild take, but I'll say it anyway. I think if you're United, the season starts now. You start the season now. Amarim, he needs to pretend like not pretend. If someone were to say I should give Amarim advice, the free advice I'd give him, the season starts now. Start preseason now. Don't wait until the end of the season. Forget about Europa League, forget about the Premier League. Start preseason now. Why do I say this? Because if they go through in the Europa League on Thursday against Lyon, and they probably let's say they win it, they win the Europa League, and then they get Champions League. What does that do? It'll give that full sense of security. It'll paint a clear picture. It'll paper over so many of the cracks of this club as a whole. Same thing with Spurs. If they win the Europa League, it'll paper over so many cracks, particularly with United. I think if United want long-term success, they need to start now. Forget about the season, forget about everything. Accept this is the new reality and rebuild from there. Because it can't get worse than this. Like they've been a laughing stock the whole season. Like we can't even laugh anymore. Like it's not even funny anymore. It's now sad, like at this point. So I think that's the biggest thing. Because if they do that, they'll walk into another situation over the summer, like they did with Ten Hag last season when he won the FA Cup. And they had to give him a new contract. And then if they win the Europa League, they get into the Champions League, they'll be like, no, these players are good enough. They know how to show up. We'll keep them. And then next season, we'll be back here having the same conversation. So for me personally, that's the advice I'd give to him and something that he definitely needs to take a closer look at. Because if he continues down this path of saying that at least if we win the Europa League, it's been a good season, he's lying to himself and he's lying to all the millions of fans that support United.
I'll also say stop the interviews, Amarim. Stop. Stay away from any of these media people at United there. They're always hunting you down. Like, you're not doing yourself any favors. That guy does an interview every 2 days. Like, I've never seen a coach talk so much. Like, this guy's always talking, man.
Loves the camera.
He loves the camera and the camera loves him, I guess, but he's always talking. He's always talking about something. And I'm like, my guy, just rest. You have nothing to talk about. Like, stop giving these people free content. Just stop. You might as well start a podcast at this point if he loves talking that much. But I know we said last week that Man United could potentially lose the rest of their games this season. They lost already against Newcastle. They're playing Wolves this weekend. And if we're looking at that game, Wolves killed Tottenham 4-2. Cunha is now back. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. So I don't know. I don't know, United. I don't know. And then they play Bournemouth, who killed Fulham this past weekend, and they played Brentford, who drew against Arsenal. If you're drawing against Arsenal, guess what you're gonna do to Man United? You're gonna wipe the floor with them. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plan is for the boy Amarim, but just go out there and try get a draw, my guy. That's my advice. Like, don't try win the game. Just try get a draw at this point. Just save face. Yeah.
By the way, to the United fans who may be mad, because I remember we said, or I said, they might lose every game from now till the end of the season. I urge you, just go look at the Wolves team and look at the team you played against Newcastle. How is your team better than theirs? You answer me that. Those two teams, in my opinion, are basically the same. You have two decent attackers, one decent holding mid, and one decent center back. That's the team. Those are the same teams. The only difference is they're organized, they work harder, they're more of a team. You guys are wolves with no teamwork. Bro, it's long. It's gonna be long for y'all, man.
I can't wait for that game. It's gonna bang.
I would also add, you have 6 games left. You're on 38 points. At least get 2 draws and get to 40 points. That's all I ask. 40 points, like, Manchester's been a horrible season. You would be on 40 points. I know it's not really good. I know you on 38, you'll still be safe, but at least just get to 40 points. Like, you've been crying, Liverpool, the Man United fans have been crying about this for months. Just get to 40 points, then it's done.
Yeah, that's at this point that's a good goal to have because again, if it wasn't for Eric Ten Hag and Bruno Fernandes, these guys will be sitting in 18th. I fully believe that. I fully believe. Even Onana has saved these guys many times over. People should stop trying to villainize Onana. Onana has actually saved United a lot of times this season. Like that brother, like when he's not been terrible, he's actually like pulled out a lot for these brothers. Bruno Fernandes has had to carry them on his back. He's gonna need a chiropractor like at the end of the season. Like this guy, he's carried a lot of water for these boys. Um, yeah, Ten Hag. I hope he's enjoying those millions that they gave him when they fired him because he clearly earned them. He earned those millions because they are working. They're working hard right now. Of course, yeah. So, hey, I think that's a good place to end with Manchester United. It's always fun over there at Old Trafford. There's always many fun things that they're doing. So, let's see how they do on Thursday against Lyon. I believe they're playing. Is it at home or is it away?
It's at
I think
home.
it's home. Yeah.
So they're playing at Old Trafford. Man, oh man, the hate watch is gonna be incredible. Especially if Matic gets to start or play at some point. Like, yeah, that'll be amazing stuff. So anyway, listener, thank you for hanging out with the Forest Brothers. I'll let the brothers, say their final words, and we'll say peace, starting with that boy Sangi and then with Mangora, and then we can finish the young podcast. Over to you, Samson.
Yeah, my message to you, if I could give Sir Jim or the United board any last words, just steer into the dirt, just steer into it. Go broke, like tear it all down. Be horrific and build it back up. That's the only way, man. Extract every last dollar from all of these overpaid players you have and just start afresh with young players. You'll be better for it. You will be better. Trust me. 22, 18-year-olds is better than this. Guaranteed. That's it.
I would say, yeah, just to echo that, just throw in the under 21s, just throw in the under 21s and the under 18s at this point. I'm pretty sure they're performing much better in their league. Like, we have nothing to lose. Like, just put them in. So yeah, but also just while on the topic of United today and Newcastle, I do want to mention Ruud van Nistelrooy as an ex-Manchester United manager of the season and former legend of United. Shout out to him, actually. I do want to shout out some of these coaches. Shout out to him for getting Leicester relegated. It would be all but confirmed this weekend. He just been doing a great job there at Leicester. Shout out to him, man. He'll be playing in the Championship next season, so good luck to him. Hopefully he never comes back. And yeah, shout out to Ruud, man. He's doing such a great job.
I don't know if they'll keep him on for the championship. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I doubt it. But shout out to Ruud for he did give them a couple of points in the. I don't know if he did in the league. Anyway, listener, thank you again for hanging out with the brothers. We appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace out.